Start of hour number 2 here on Sports Talk. Welcome back, everybody. Steve Kaplowitz with you. And as you might imagine, it's Tuesday and 5 o'clock, and every other week, we welcome back to the program this man, Mark Lowry, head coach, technical director, El Paso Locomotive FC. A thriller Saturday night in front of a packed house, a match that, as you could imagine, it's New Mexico United. It's action-packed. It's tense, nerve-wracking. The fans were crazy. Just when you thought the match was over, Leandro Carrillo had something to say about that. Beautiful setup. He puts it away. 1-1 draw. Get a point out of that, and fans go home happy. Coach, great to have you back. Welcome, and man, oh, man. I loved how this team was able to salvage that tie in the final minute of extra stoppage play on Saturday.
It's good to be back, Steve. Lots happened since we last spoke, as you just alluded to. Great game all around, actually. I was really happy with the guys' performance. And, it was just a few seconds before this goal was scored that I was thinking, that the guys don't deserve to lose this game. We've been pushing. We've restricted them to really one chance on goal. Unfortunately, they took it. We don't deserve to lose this. And then the guys showed tremendous character. It tells you what this group's about so early in the season, right? To have this type of resilience, character, and toughness to do this in the first game of the season shows that we have a real special group here. And it really does kind of set a foundation for us to go forward.
Well, first off, I keep watching the highlight of that tying goal in the final second. And what's amazing to me is this. We've seen this match played so many times over the first 2 years. You dominate possession. You dominate really the game. You have some scoring chances, but unfortunately, you weren't able to get one in the net. Meanwhile, New Mexico has very few opportunities, but one of their rare chances does go in. So suddenly, you know that you've outplayed them for the majority of the match, and yet you're behind. And this time around, you were able to get the equalizer late to salvage that 1 point and take away their 3 points. So it's funny how this sport works, and whether you call it soccer, football, whatever it is, Coach, sometimes you can be the better team. And in this particular sport, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get those 3 points and walk away a winner, because it can be cruel sometimes to you, can it?
It can, and it's not just so much the sport itself, Steve. It's rivalry games, local derbies that no matter what the form says, what the history says, what, a new season, a new year, a rivalry is a rivalry. The games will always be cliffhangers. You can't avoid that, unfortunately. It doesn't matter when you play your rival. The games will always be close. It's just the nature of those games, and you got to embrace that. You got to accept that, and you got to fight your way through it. All these games against New Mexico are the same, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. We have to learn how to win these games and get points from them. And I think the guys are doing a real good job of that. If you look over the last 3 or 4 times we played New Mexico, they haven't beaten us. So we're on a good track with them. We obviously want to win games, but understand that these are kind of one-off games where you have to fight and scrap for everything. If you're going to win, you got to go and earn it.
Now, Leandro had a terrific preseason for you. He scored a couple goals for you in the preseason. He had a goal at the end of last season when he was finally kind of getting him back into game form. This season, it's interesting because if you come in as a late substitution in the 70th or 80th minute, you essentially have 10 to 15 minutes to go full speed and try to get something through the net. And I don't know, you tell me from your years in the sport as a player and a coach, how difficult is it when you come in as a late game substitution, and even though you're known as a goal scorer your whole career, rather than play the majority of the contest, you've got to try and get things done and work up that sweat and then get punch one into the net in a short amount of time?
It's not always easy. It doesn't always work out in your favor. I mean, luckily for us this season, we have a great squad, and we've got guys like Leandro, Aiden came on, Diego came on. We've got real game changers all the way through the team. And look, if you reverse the roles and Leandro and Aiden are starting, then we're bringing on Lucho and Aaron. And it's a great position to be in as a club, to have guys like that can come on and make a difference. I think Leandro's experience, his composure helps him in those last minutes of the game when It's heated, it's physical, it's emotional. He's able to keep his cool in those moments and get goals for the team because he has that experience. So we're in a blessed position to have guys like him and this strength in depth this season where we know if we need to find a goal from somewhere, we can always look through the squad to find it.
I'm happy you mentioned the variety of forwards you have right now and players, really, because you can add Dylan to that group. You can add Brian to that group. You've got a lot of scores at a lot of positions, not just your strikers and your forwards, right?
Absolutely. That's what I said. We need to add firepower throughout the team. We need to add goals. We need to just get goals from the starting forward for that game, but goals from the bench, goals from midfield. You need to be able to win games and pick up points in various different ways because, like I said earlier, Steve, every game is different. Some games will be tighter than others. Sometimes you won't play as well. These rivalry games are a little bit more heated and physical and chaotic. You need to be able to, in all of those different moments, be able to have solutions to win the game or find points and find goals. And I think we have that this year. I'm really excited what I saw, and having that come off the bench, that depth now, that strength, it gives us a lot of weapons in a lot of different areas.
Coach Mark Lowry with us as we begin our hour here on Sports Talk talking about the match. First off, let's backtrack for a minute. What was it like for you to see 70% capacity, a loud crowd, a boisterous crowd, and kind of what you're used to from that first season there Saturday, that rivalry game against New Mexico United?
It felt like we were transported back to 2019. It felt great. The fans were incredible. I know it says 70%, but it felt like a packed house to us. It really did. They were loud, they were boisterous, they were energetic. They didn't stop cheering or shouting. I'm just glad we gave them that at the end for them to go home excited about, to cheer about. And, the fans earned that. The fans are part of that with us. That goal's for them, and that there's many more to come.
No doubt. And you know that now, and I think this goes twofold, not just the fact that the crowd was great, but you got to realize this city has not had live professional local sports since you last season. They had no baseball. They had a limited number of matches. They were able to go at a very small percentage. And I think that this town has a lot of fans that just want to get back outside again, watch a winner, and enjoy themselves for a couple of hours, something that Locomotive FC provides.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right, Steve. I think you felt that in the crowd. There was an energy and that, like I said, they were loud, but there was also a relief in there, a relief to be back, right? A relief to be doing what you love, us on the field and the fans in the stands supporting us. That they love it just as much as we do. They're as passionate about this team as we are, maybe even more. This is their hometown. We want to be successful for them. We want to score goals like we did for them and give them things to cheer about and go home excited about. And, the Locomotive offer that. The Chihuahuas are going to offer that in a few days' time when they have the homestand. And it's great to be back to some sort of normality. And even though it's 70%, it felt like 100%, like I said, because of how loud they were.
Coach, as far as the match and the way it went, I would say it went exactly the way we wanted to see it. If you're a Locomotive fan, you controlled possession, crisp passes, scoring chances, some close calls that weren't necessarily, balls that went into the net, but you were able to do what you've done and what you've preached. At the same time, it's your first match of the season versus all these exhibition games you've played. New Mexico's already played a regular season match that counted in the standings. How big is it when your first match of the year is going up against a club that's already had a chance to play this season?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for being game ready. And unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to do that. This is our first game. We had 2 weeks prior to that without games. The season had started and we were sitting at home. So it was an interesting way to start the season for us. But I thought the guys showed great strength and character to come through it. We competed. We fought for every inch. We were intense about our work. The tenacity was there. And honestly, early in the season, they're the things you look for. You know the quality is not going to be there just yet. There's going to be more missed chances than normal, a couple more mistakes than normal. It's just part of kind of starting the season off. But you want to see the intensity, the tenacity, and the desire. And I think we saw that tenfold from the guys. And that's what's made me the happiest, knowing that, we've started in a really intense way, and we now need to kick on from this and go forward.
Who impressed you the most as far as players that really were able to make a good impression on Saturday?
I thought I know I say this a lot, but I just thought from 1 to 11 and 1 to 18, because the guys that came on did a tremendous job. A couple of new guys out there, Lucho, first game for the side up top with Aaron and Dylan. And, finding his way, his rhythm with the team. Aiden coming off the bench quite early in the 60th minute in his first appearance for the club made a difference. You look at young Diego Luna coming in, right? 17 years of age, comes in with 15 minutes to go with Leandro, makes a difference. So I thought from 1 to 18, every single guy out there gave an effort and a work rate and showed character I haven't seen from this team before. I've seen it in bits and pieces. I've seen 8 or 9 players doing it. I've seen it over a few games, but what I saw this past weekend was 18 players, 1 to 18, fighting for every inch, and that makes me proud as a coach.
I'm happy you mentioned Diego because the truth is you had the youngest player on the club set up the oldest player on the club. So it's kind of nice when you look at that goal and you realize that it's 2 totally different generations of soccer that were part of that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to remind Leandro of that, but he's probably old enough to be his father. So
yeah.
It's an interesting, it's an interesting dynamic we have, but it's a great one. It shows that, like I said, throughout this squad, we have different ages, different backgrounds, different cultures, and they're coming together and they're performing. And, for a 17-year-old, teams like to tout their young players and they'll find minutes for them in games that don't really mean anything. Or if the game's dead, you're losing 3-0, you bring a kid on, or you're winning 3-0, you bring a kid on because there's nothing really on the line at that point. We brought him on at 1-0 in a heated game against our biggest rival. It's a pressure oven that he's coming into. And he came and he had this chance, which he created. He played a part in Leandro's goal. So we brought him on in a moment that was critical for the team. And he was able to perform at 17. That's absolutely huge.
Meanwhile, you get the setup or the cross that leads to the header, which leads to the finish. Could you draw that play up any better if you tried?
No. We work on attacking the box a lot, getting good numbers in the box. And when you see he put the cross in, there's 4 or 5 blue shirts in there. Aaron fought for the first ball, and Leandro was there to capitalize on the knockdown. And we had them on the ropes. I mean, for that last 10, 15 minutes, they really were on the ropes. We wanted to score a little bit earlier, obviously, because I think if we'd have scored 5, 10 minutes earlier, we'd probably win the game 2-1. But 94th, 95th minute, the guys did not stop. They weren't willing to take no for an answer. And they got what they deserved.
What'd you tell them in the locker room after the match?
Just how proud I was of the effort and the desire to play till the last second, play till the last whistle. We talk about that a lot as a team, to just focus on the next play. Don't get wrapped up in the moment too much. Focus on the next action. And if that next action happens to be in the 96th minute, that's what it is. We play right to the end because there's goals there all the time. And they showed a great mental toughness to do what they did in the first game of the season.
All right, we got a lot in store for you. Mishak Jerome's going to join us here via Zoom in just a little bit, and we'll continue with Coach Lowry as he's got an off week before they come back home and play next weekend right here, and we'll cover that match as well. So plenty more coming up on the Mark Lowry Hour as Sports Talk continues, but first, let's go to Charlie One and get a traffic update. 20 past the hour as we continue the Mark Lowry Hour right now with us on 600 ESPN El Paso, and also streaming live on Facebook through El Paso Locomotive FC and their social media accounts. We continue right now with the head coach and technical director, Mark Lowry, and special guest who's going to be joining us in a moment. I love every time I look at Mishak Jerome, Coach, he looks like a different individual. He looks like he's in unbelievable shape right now. And quite frankly, I mean, I won't say I recognize the guy because I've talked to him on a couple of different occasions, but he looks unbelievable right now.
Yeah, Mish is in great shape right now. He's come back into the 2021 season looking great. So I can't wait to kind of get this chat going with him. He's one of my favorite guys. I've been with him for 5, 6, 7 years now and loved every day of being with him. And he seems to get better and better every year.
Mishak, I can't tell you that you looked bad the last time I saw you because that's not really right and accurate, but you really do look terrific right now. And I'm just seeing a headshot of you and I got that smile on your face, which is also really good. Welcome back to the program. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're working hard to get better every day. So thank you. Thank you.
I'm sure you feel better after salvaging the draw Saturday night with New Mexico United. Give me your thoughts on the match, the first one of the season, and really what it was like for you.
He hurt me because I want to start the season with a win, but it's not a bad result. The loss is gonna be the bad one, but it still hurt me. But we still go over it and to get better every day. So hopefully next game we gotta win because it's a win. We need a win to start the season, but it's a draw. So I think it's a good lesson for us. So next game gonna be better. It's mute.
There we go.
Can't hear you, Steve.
Let's try it again. There we go. All right. The rare technical issues during the Zoom call. That never happens. So
Doesn't.
I'll have to get with Juan after the show. We'll try to figure out what's going on here today. But I will say this, Mishak, when we were talking about this, you mentioned to me you wanted a W. You play for 3 points, but ultimately, as you said, one is better than none when you talk about the way things worked out for you here at the end.
Yes, 1 point is better than nothing because start the season with 1 point is better than 0. So we're working on it. So I think it's coming. It's coming.
I
The
agree
win
with
is
you.
coming.
But you've been through this before. This isn't your first rodeo, and Coach just talked about now knowing you for 5 or 6 seasons. In your mind, how many matches does it take until you really get comfortable enough to where you feel like you're in regular season 4?
I think it took me a couple game, but we have a long preseason. You're talking about this year or last year?
Any year.
I think it doesn't take me that long because we have a large preseason. We have a couple months. We play a lot of games. I know the coach for a couple years. I know much of the guys. We play some of the guys we play in Jacksonville, and until now, I think it's not take us so long to know each other and to play to feel good about ourselves. I think it's a good environment.
Coach, for listeners that are not familiar with really the story of how you first came into getting to coach and work with Mishak, take us back years ago and how the two of you first hooked up.
I think 2017 was the year. I knew him before that at Orlando City. I'd watched him play a ton of times. He was actually a right back in his early days, flying up and down the wing. And then he came back in 2017. He was in MLS for a couple of years at Montreal and Sporting KC. And then in 2017, he come back into the NASL, it was then, Division 2 level of soccer in the US and at Jacksonville with me. So halfway through that season, he joined and he was fantastic as a centre back. And we've kind of been together since then. I've made sure he's always been in my teams because he's such a great player. People look at his athleticism a lot of the time and see him make these incredible plays, but really it's his football brain, his vision, his accuracy on the ball with his passing is second to none. I can't imagine playing without him, to be honest, because he offers us so much from the back line in terms of how we attack and how we move the ball forward. He does so much good stuff for us, and he's a great teammate. He's great in the locker room. Everyone in the team loves him. He's a great guy to have around. So I've made sure since 2017 he's been with me every year since.
Safe to say that considering in year 1 he had the injury in the Gold Cup, which obviously took him out of action for the rest of that first season, and then last year, the COVID year, it looks like right now Mishak is in arguably the best shape we've ever seen him here in El Paso, and that could just mean havoc for the opposition, especially when the match starts.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of watching some of his clips there on the screen. He looks like a different person. I mean, he'll be the first to admit coming back from that injury, and 2020, the quarantine and the COVID situation, not being able to play or train, it wasn't a great situation for Mishak. He needed to get out there and play more and get on the field. And, he'll be the first to admit physically he wasn't at his best last season, but that was to be expected. And he's come in this preseason and you see his he's probably 10, 15 pounds lighter. His muscle mass is in great shape, and he's looking fast. He's looking fit. He's already a great athlete, but now, he's carrying less weight now, so he's able to move even quicker and do some even more incredible things. So, he's going to have a great year. I know he is. We've got to keep him healthy, but I have no doubt that he'll stay healthy. I've actually never known him get injured, to be honest. That was a freak situation at the Gold Cup with Haiti. Like I said, I've known Misha now for, 5-6 years, and he's not once been injured. So I know how durable and resilient he is. And so I know that he's going to have a great year for us.
Mishak, how many pounds lighter are you this year than last? Let me hear it. 15 to 20? What are we talking about right now?
It was 20. I lost 20 pounds.
Wow. What a weight, dude.
It's incredible. So for you, do you feel right now that you are in by far the best shape you've ever been in since you've been in El Paso?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've been working on it, so I'm still working on it. So it's my best shape right now.
I think we have his wife to thank for that. I think she makes him eat healthy and looks after him around the house and stuff. So I think Sandra gets a shout out for keeping Mishak's diet in order.
Yeah.
I like that, Mishak. So what happened? Tell me how the conversation went. Your wife said, "All right, listen, Mishak, it's enough already. We gotta start changing the way you eat a little bit, and we're gonna make it a little difficult for you. Is that it, or do you find that right now it's okay? Do you still get to eat your favorite foods?"
You sound exactly like her. She told me that. She said we have to change things. She said we have to change things because I have to lose some weight.
I tell you what, Steve, it's got to be difficult for Mishak because once or twice a season, Sandra cooks for the team. Mishak's wife, Sandra, and she makes incredible food. She's a great cook. So we've tasted her food before. It's tremendous. So it's got to be difficult for Mishak not to eat like a horse every day because her food is fantastic. So it must be tough for him.
I love it. All right. I got plenty more coming up with both Mishak and Coach Lowry here as we continue on the Mark Lowry Hour, talking Locomotive Soccer. If you want to get in, send us a question right now. You can tweet the show, 600 ESPN El Paso. We'll read some questions on the air. It's also streaming live right now on Facebook via El Paso Locomotive FC's Facebook channel. But first, let's go to Adrian and get this bottom of the hour Sports Center update. All right, Adrian, thank you very much. We're back right now on the Mark Lowry Hour with special guest, defender Mishak Jerome, and we talk a little bit about Mishak and also obviously this team. Mishak, I'm curious about one thing, okay? So you're back this year, and so are many of your teammates, especially on the back line. And how important is that? Because you've developed all this chemistry with them over the years, and Coach has really shown the commitment to trying to keep much of the core together over these 3 seasons.
I feel good. I feel good about my teammate, especially that I've been with for a couple of years. It's always good to keep like some experienced players because we've been playing for the last couple of years together. I think we understand each other so well. So I feel good about my teammate.
As far as your performance in 2020, how would you grade out your season that you had?
I've been struggle at first during the COVID situation. I think I wasn't at my best shape last year, but this year I'm willing to give more and more every game. Especially for the coach, I feel every time I step on the field, I owe them so much. So I'm gonna work every day to satisfy them as much as possible.
Coach, I love that about Mishak, the work ethic, what he's talking about right now. And obviously for you got to love hearing it, but I'm sure you know that already. You've developed a relationship over the last 4 or 5 seasons with him. And this is exactly what Mishak Jerome is all about.
Yeah, I think about it quite often, actually, with some of the guys that I've been with, going back to Jacksonville days, Brian Rebella, Mishak Jerome, Yuma, there's a few of them. And then this trust and just this belief in each other, it takes time to build, and time is the only thing that can build that love and that care. It does take time, and when you've been with guys that much, I just trust them that they're never going to let me down. They're never going to let the team down. If we're going to war, I want them next to me. That's the bond we have now, and that doesn't happen overnight. That does take years and years and years to do. But once you have that with somebody, like I have with me, Shaq and Brian and a few of the other guys, like I said, if we're going to lose, I want to lose with them. If we're going to win, I want to win with them. There's no other way I see this game or this team looking. It's, and we're getting there with all of them at this point, even the guys that are newer to the team. We've already kind of got that bond where we want to do this together. And if we're going to lose, we're going to lose together. If we're going to win together, there's no other group of people I'd rather do it with.
Sounds like family to me. It sounds that's exactly what it's like. And for you, you know that because of that family relationship, that it's really, truly one team and one unit. And I love that because we hear that a lot from coaches. Sometimes they'll say that, but you can just tell with you and your players that that's exactly what this relationship is all about here in season 3 of El Paso Locomotive FC.
Yeah, and that family word, we don't actually use it often. I think it's a strange word when coaches and teams use that, because when I hear other teams use that word, what I hear is that we're going to be nice to each other, we're going to love each other, we're going to care for each other. No one's going to say any bad things to each other. But the beautiful thing about a family is you can have conflict and you can push each other and you can dislike each other at certain times. But the trust and that if it's going to hit the fan or if something's going down, they're going to be there for you. That's family. If I don't talk to my brother for 3, 4, 5 months, I know if I call him, he's picking up the phone. Mm-hmm. That's what we have here. Conflict is a big part of it. Normalizing that conflict and demanding more from each other every day. That's what a family is. A family is not just about being nice to each other and not upsetting each other. The only way a family gets stronger is going through things and becoming resilient. And I think we're there with this group. So we are a family, but when I think of a family, it's exactly that. We can go through tough times together, but we'll always be there for each other. So I know when we kick off a game, those guys are going to give everything for each other, because at the end of the day, there is a bond there that you can't break.
I hear you. Now, Shaq, I used the word family, and Coach just elaborated on that. If you had to use a word to describe the bond with you and this team, what would you say?
I think that's more than family, because we care for each other. We run for each other every day. We fight for each other. I think we pass a lot of time in the locker room with each other. I think it's more than family.
All right. I mean, you can say brothers. There's a lot of ways, a lot of things you can use. But hey, just remember this, Coach. Brothers fight. That's part of growing up. You do. You have a brother. I've got 2, and exactly. That's what it's about. But ultimately, everybody loves everybody, and you realize there's no stronger bond than family when it's all.
And that's what this is. Yeah.
Absolutely right. All right. So you tell me, Coach, as you look at Shaq here in season 3, where do you expect him to be as far as just his overall performance on the pitch and what fans should expect to see from him this season?
I mean, Shaq knows what I think about, and I think I can say this. Like, he's respected the league. A lot of teams throughout the league recognize how good Shaq is, but I think I go as far as saying I expect him to be the best centre-back in the league again. That's how good he is. Head and shoulders, in my opinion, above centre-backs in other groups. They just can't do what he does. We're blessed with a few on our team that are good players in Shaq's position, but I rate him as much as anybody else in this country, and I'll throw him a less centre-backs in the mix as well. I think Shaq's as good, if not better than all of them. And that's what I expect from him. That's the level that we've come to expect from him. He set that bar himself, what he does with the ball, what he does for the team. And I think I'd be doing him a disservice if I expect anything less from him. I expect to see the best centre-back in the league, and I know I'll see that.
High praise from your coach, Shaq, but at the same time, when you hear that, would you almost say that you're your toughest critic because you know the level that is expected of you, and obviously you know what you're capable of? So is there anybody tougher on your game, Shaq, than you personally?
I don't think anybody tougher, but the way coach said, I have to improve it. I know you expect a lot of things from me. I have to prove it. Every time the team lost, I think I'm disappointed because I'm gonna think what the coach gonna think because I'm supposed to give more, and I keep thinking about it. Sometimes when I do a bad decision, it tell me to forget it. It push me a lot. So this year I expect to do a lot. Hopefully I'm not getting injured again. So I'm gonna push myself day by day, and hopefully I get the top level the coach want me to be.
Last question for you, Mishak, and then we'll let you go and we'll wrap things up here with Mark in our final segment of the hour. Take me through this season and this year's team. And you've only played one match, but you've played a lot of exhibition games so far. How do you compare this year's group from the squads you had your previous 2 seasons with Locomotive FC?
Yeah, last year we had a good group, a strong group. But this year, I think this team is, I can say it's better. Only thing we have to prove is on the field, and we have a goal to break. And so the goal for us is break everything, and it's gonna be there for us. So we're in good shape. We're on the good direction now. So I think next few months you're gonna see the difference between last year and this year.
What makes this year's team better, in your opinion?
I think we lose both um, final, West final. I think this year that group knows we have to put everything to go to the to win everything this year. I think everybody knows we have to fight for it. I think everybody willing to fight for it too. Hopefully everything come in the right way for us. I think this year we can do it, and I believe in this group.
All right. You sold me on it, Mishak. That's for sure. I'm on board, ready to go with that. I love that answer. Hey, thank you for being a part of the show today. Wish you the best of luck and look forward to the next time we get to chat with you.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mish.
Thank you, Coach.
We're going to come back and wrap things up with Coach Lowry and look ahead to 2 weeks. That's right, a week from Saturday, the next home match for Locomotive FC as we continue right here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Welcome back, everybody, as the Mark Lowry Hour continues here on this busy afternoon. Let's get back to the head coach and technical director of El Paso Locomotive FC, head coach Mark Lowry, as we continue. All right, Coach, here we go. This comes from the Instigator on Twitter. He tweets the show, or she tweets the show. Great match Saturday. Awesome atmosphere. Can you talk about the eighth notch and the role they play?
Yeah, they're incredible. The whole stadium was rocking, to be honest. When they get together and they make those noise and they bang on those drums, it really makes it a great environment and atmosphere for us, which is why in the second half, we like kicking towards them. It's important for us to have that momentum in the second half going towards our fans. And you've seen us do things in the second half, partly because of the energy that they bring to help us go and win games or turn losses into ties and pick up those final points in those final few seconds of the game. And they're a big part of that.
I've seen you personally in big moments after matches go right up to them, pump your fists, start yelling at them, and because you get fired up by them, and I can see not only does the team feed off of them, but you do as well.
Yeah, I get fired up. They get fired up. We're all in this together. We spoke about family earlier, and I think this is just an extension of the family. They're a huge part of this. We do this for them. The fans really are, what sports are all about, and we can never forget that. And I'm always aware that they play a huge part in this. Without them there, this wouldn't be the same. So when we win, I like to go and join them and celebrate with them and kind of have that moment with them.
Rio Grande Valley, a week from Saturday, is not going to be an easy one for you. They're off to a great start. They've won their first 2 matches, and that's something that really needs to be mentioned because I know they've struggled a little bit these last couple of seasons, but they're off to a good start, and they'll obviously pose a pretty good challenge for you when you're back home a week from Saturday.
Yeah, they've put it together a pretty experienced group this year, and they're a little bit more blue collar than what they've been. They've always had kind of a younger team on the field, and younger teams tend to make a few more mistakes. They're now a little bit more blue collar, a bit more organized and harder to break down, and that'll be difficult. Yeah, they've won the first 2 games, and Traditionally, though, they've always been very strong at home. Even the last couple of years when they haven't done as well, their home form's always been very good. It's a very difficult place to go down there in the valley. It's a long way. It's extremely hot. The conditions are always a little bit different. So their home form's always good. So I'm not surprised they've started off with 2 wins. It's like I said, it's a difficult place to go. Now they've got to come to El Paso, though. Come to our house, and we'll make it difficult for you. And I'm confident in the guys. It's going to be difficult. All games are difficult. All games present different challenges. But, we'll be ready for it, and we'll be looking to bring home the first 3 points of the season.
This has been such a strange start to the season as far as scheduling goes. You have 2 weeks where you're having to still play exhibition matches while everybody else is starting their season. You finally get to play your first match in week 3, and now you're on a bye week right after that first weekend in games. I mean, listen, I can't begin to try to tell you what the thinking goes behind the scheduling process, but it is so strange that, you start late, and now you've got to bye right after your first game.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some teams have already played 3 games. We've only played 1, and I think RGV will have played 3 or 4 by the time we play them for our second game. So they'll have a few more games in their belt. They'll be a little more battle ready, game ready, but that shouldn't stop us from putting a good performance. And we just have to. It's a challenge, right? What we've been presented to start the season is difficult. It's not always easy. When we said earlier, teams have played 2-3 games and you're kind of getting your first one. It takes time, but we have to find a way to come through this with points on the board. It might not be pretty to start the season, but we have to find a way to put points on the board to get us going, to get us off the mark. And I'm confident the guys can do that.
This question comes in from @El Paso Visuals. Can you ask Coach about the new sideline look? Noticed he had a tie on. Never seen that look before. Is this a new tradition, a new look? Could it have been the tie that played a part in the final result? Excuse the pun, because you wore a tie, you got a tie. So explain the whole tie look. What's going on there, Coach?
It's a great question and good observation. No, I think I like each season to raise the bar at every level, on the field, off the field, mix it up a little bit, come in fresh. That's just kind of part of it. Like I said, it's a new season, new year. We want to go 1/3 this year. So, we'll do things differently. We'll try and find different ways to get results. We may dress a little bit differently on the side. We're just trying to raise the level of everything we do, in terms of the staff, what we do with the staff, how they look, how they present themselves. And it's, we're just trying to raise the bar in everything we do. And I think that's part of it.
There's the picture, by the way. Black shirt, black tie with gray slacks. I like that.
Black's intimidating. We want to be intimidating on the side. If you look, my staff are all in black as well. There's thought behind it, Steve. There's a method to the madness.
I can't wait to hear the thought. I like it. The intimidation factor is what it's going to be about. So what you're saying is maybe the theme for you this year will be back in black, and that's what we're going to be seeing a lot of this season.
Exactly. We're ready for business. We're ready to roll up our sleeves and fight. The sleeves are rolled up there, ready to go. So it might look good, but we're ready to battle and scrap for every point. And that's El Paso to me. This is a tough town, and we got to be tough on the field.
I love it. Great way to wrap us up here on the hour. Terrific stuff. Listen, I wish you nothing but the best a week from Saturday. I look forward to being in the crowd and watching that with everybody else, including the Eighth Notch. And then we'll have a lot to unpack and talk about 2 weeks from tonight when we join you again on the Mark Lowry Hour. Appreciate it, Coach, and we'll talk to you then soon.
Thanks, Steve. It's been a pleasure. See you soon.
You got it. Terrific stuff from head coach, technical director Mark Lowry, and our special guest, Meshach Jerome.